Teen, one dream, and one big break.
Whoa.
Demi Lovato is Sonny,
Cool.
an average teenager who's come to Hollywood
Can't believe I'm really here.
to live her dream.
So Disney Channel's Sonny With A Chance went through a lot of iterations before coming to the show the fans know today. As you've heard so many times before, show business is all about getting that pilot script to 30 pages, finding a producer, pitching it to a network, yada yada yada. And this was actually conceived under the title of Sketchpad, a nod to the sketch comedy premise.
It's not on purpose when he blows his top. He's dolphin ball.
Ooh, the mammal.
So Sonny With A Chance was going to be called Sketchpad. Early on, the main character's original name was Molly Munroe, and the show centered around her experiences joining the teen comedy sketch show, so it wasn't that different right off the bat. But then it became a show called Welcome to Mollywood, keeping the idea of the Midwestern girl heading to Hollywood and just kind of making it a little bit more funny. Then in 2008, Disney Channel officially announced the series as Welcome to Mollywood and said it's going to be this half-hour live-action comedy for the 2008-2009 season. And during this phase, the protagonist was still Molly, and the title was a pun on Hollywood. But then they changed the name from Molly to Holly with an I, like Holli, and then it's Welcome to Hollywood, but with an I. It was all about the fun wordplay, I guess, and really wanted to have that pun. That's when they switched gears and they actually reimagined her as Sonny Munroe.
Sonny Munroe.
That's me.
And changed the title one final time to Sonny With A Chance. This is like a final title that the Los Angeles Times critic Robert Lloyd speculated. Sonny With A Chance of Rain. Like the character's name in the Hollywood setting, it's just cute. The sketch program was originally going to be called Tawny and Friends, and actually be centered around Tawny before it was changed to the familiar So Random in the final series. It kind of reminds me of when Demi Lovato was a kid and on Barney. She's joining a TV show, what can you do? All these title and character name revisions were probably because of Disney, as they refined the concept to perfectly fit like a more optimistic tone and make more catchy wordplay to have the vibe of the show. It was created by this guy named Steve Marmel, and he also created the pilot. He was experienced, known for animation before, and for Disney he partnered with Brian Robbins, who was in the sketch comedy world. He actually co-created all that, and he served as an executive producer on this show, Sonny With A Chance, which was perfect to bring together for this. I always thought that this was a reference to all that. His producing partner, Sharla Sumster Bridget, also had experience on all that and joined as a producer as well. So you can see those Nickelodeon elements being a part of it. Another producer was Michael Feldman, who co-wrote the show's pilot, and together they even cited that NBC's 30 Rock is going to be just how Sonny With A Chance will be. The president of entertainment at the time, Gary Marsh, was the champion of the series and its concept, identifying following your dream as its core Disney Channel theme.
I guess dreams really do come true.
That way, they had no choice but to get it. It's described as like a hybrid show, meaning that's traditional sitcom storyline, and also had fully produced sketch comedy segments. It's like a show within a show. And this format was very new for Disney at the time, especially with those variety show elements. It was ambitious because, I don't know, it's not easy to do something like that well. Even all that, struggled to figure out what it was at different points. It's not every day we have shows like that. And sure, So Random felt like a real teen comedy show, even if the whole background didn't. They wanted to follow Sonny and actually her experiences in the Hollywood lot. Disney Channel was coming off of their hugely successful sitcoms and movies at the time, like Hannah Montana, Wizards. It defined the mid-2000s. So there was a lot of expectations to create another great show.
Time for talking's over. Because So Random's on. It's my favorite show.
Now, they even try to get music out of it. Whether it's about music or not, they try to make sure the people sing. They wanted to create multi-talented young stars to act in TV shows movies, and launch music careers, because then that just makes them seem like a better company. And obviously Demi Lovato had just done Camp Rock in 2008.
She's really good.
And she was with the Jonas Brothers. Like, it added so much hype. She even sung with them at Disney's Hollywood Records. Originally, ironically, it was supposed to be a vehicle for the Jonas Brothers, but Lovato's breakout performance as Michi Torres made her a natural choice to carry a series of her own, especially before the boys. Which is funny, because obviously Jonas came at one point. When they greenlit Sonny With A Chance with the goal of building Demi's momentum and cross-promoting her talents, Gary explained that Lovato's casting was to continue her affiliation with the network. So this entire show was to just keep Demi going. But it's weird because unlike Miley and Selena, they became household names through their series and then expanded into music and films, but Demi's musical debut came before the sitcom, which is different. And because of the show, Demi actually cemented Lovato in the Disney Channel cornerstone in 2009, completing the network's roster of stars. They wanted to do something in this post-Hannah Montana era by being kind of adjacent to exactly what that was, making something slightly more meta, like a comedy about the entertainment industry, instead of just a double life. That could satirize teen fame while also kind of making commentary about the upcoming social media and all the internet popularity. With Sonny, Disney targeted the same tween demographic, but added a fresh format. As Marsh noted, the series reinforced Disney's core themes of pursuing their dreams, and that's what they did.
I'm on the show. Oh, I mean, so random. I'm in the show. I'm in Hollywood. You. What? Oh my gosh.
Nick also had success with sketch comedy from all that, and finding its new hits like iCarly and the more modern teen Nick it became, Sonny With A Chance kind of gave Disney Channel its own trend. Do we want to say it's copying? I don't think so. It's definitely a more character-developed show than all that. This is a way of almost one-upping everybody. So Sonny With A Chance centered around finding the right lead, and obviously they had Demi Lovato. She was 16 at the time, and already a 10-year showbiz veteran by 2008. Oh my god. Of course, she was in Barney and Friends, and then in As the Bell Rings. Disney noticed her talents and got her through these early projects. Ironically, she auditioned for that show Jonas by the Jonas Brothers and didn't get the part. But like, that was a blessing in disguise, because Joe Jonas actually said to her, if you had gotten Jonas, you wouldn't have been in Camp Rock. Instead, Lovato landed in Camp Rock, premiered 2008, and became a major hit for Disney. That's when she also was brought to Sonny With A Chance. And she actually got both roles around the same time in summer 2007. It was probably because she was such a gifted comedian in addition to her beautiful singing voice. The cast fell into place all after that, and they announced Tiffany Thornton as Tawny Hart, Brandon Michael Smith, Nico Harris, Doug Brochu, Grady Mitchell, Allison Ashley Arm, and of course Sterling Knight. It's also funny to think what might have been, because one actress, Bridget Mendler, auditioned for Sonny Munroe before Demi Lovato eventually got the part.
Sonny!
Sonny? Sonny? What am I doing here?
And then she would have never gotten Good Luck Charlie. Can you imagine that universe? The Los Angeles Times called Sonny With A Chance a hit from the very moment it was announced, which is such a big start for a long fall. They filmed an unaired pilot directed by Lee Shalit Chamel, and it was more like the Welcome to Mollywood version of the show. It launched in February 2009, and the network treated it like a major premiere event. Even aired the first 2 back-to-back episodes. Thank God, because we needed to see Chad Dillon Cooper to believe in the show.
Disguise yourself just to play the game smarter. I'm finally seeing clear, and I won't go down, I'll make it out of here. And I won't care what they say, it's a game I'll gladly play. And if they get in my way, I'll finally take them down a peg. Now let's go make life so hard.
Okay, Season 1, Episode 1 is called Sketchy Beginnings, which is really cool name for a pilot. So we start with a So Random sketch between Nico and Grady. The joke is that he's a dolphin boy and water squirts out of his head when he sees a pretty girl. Weird concept already. It's clear Dolphin Boy is a sketch, much like SNL.
He's Dolphin Boy.
We see Sonny Munroe watching from her bedroom. The theme song kind of explains what happens, and we're thrown right into it. Sonny's visiting the set for the first time, and her mom is super excited because this is the first time they actually left. They meet Marshall, who's the head of the show, kind of like the Lorne Michaels. Very quirky. And we're introduced to the main hub of the show, the prop room, which is a very unique idea, like a prop room being where everybody convenes. That's really cool. Sonny meets Nico and Grady for the first time, and Tawny, who immediately doesn't like her.
She's our newest cast member, Ton. You remember we said goodbye to Mandy on our last show?
I remembered the goodbye, I just didn't think there was gonna be a hello.
It feels like kind of a 30 Rock for kids, like the quirky main character and the diva best friend, but I like that they both want to be a comedian. Tawny kind of warns her.
Let's think of the studio as a school. I'm the head cheerleader, and you're the new kid.
And Sonny is like, whoa, I don't know if this workplace is what it's cracked up to be. They do a Queen Bee sketch with Tawny as the queen. When the Queen Bee sketch isn't working, Sonny makes a suggestion that everybody finds really funny, which I don't know how. It's not that funny, she's just being weird. Tawny gets really upstaged, and it becomes a big deal. Who ends up ripping her stuffed toy. Next thing you know, Tawny is threatened by everything that happens.
Now, just like that deer, you get up and dust off your antlers and angrily kick in our headlights.
You want me to kick her in her headlights?
No. Look,
Sonny actually tries to befriend Tawny.
Aw, a peace offering? Well, now it's a million peace offerings.
And Sonny accidentally burns her hand. Oh, so things cannot get worse between them, and Marshall has to take care of it.
I don't, and let's see how funny it is without me.
But I can't do the sketch without you.
But Sonny finally stands up to Tawny, kind of like a metaphor for getting used to this new place where she's like, you know what, I'm gonna make this place my own type energy. Next thing you know, the Sis Boom Buzz sketch is Demi rapping about the Queen Bee, and there's no way that was the entire show.
Okay, people, great show.
Tawny and Sonny briefly make up, but it's clear that this is going to be an ongoing issue. And the pilot ends with Sonny taking one last look into the prop room, placing down a new prop from the Bee sketch. Sonny With A Chance is a pretty good start. You get to hear about this unique, quirky girl that kind of wants to be a comedian. She gets the chance of a lifetime, clearly, and the pilot focuses on the jarring transition from hometown to show business.
you know, it's not every day and I hand my beautiful daughter over to show business.
Unlike other shows like show business, like Hannah Montana, Naked Brothers Band, Jonas, Sonny kind of focuses on like the cultural landscape, which is very unique in that genre. Looking back, I probably like it because I idealized a world where I could be on set all day making funny videos. But the reality of this show is that everybody's kind of like a stereotype of a wacky character, and the only thing grounding it is Demi's authenticity at the role.
Are you shredding fan mail?
Not mine.
It feels endearing, but you don't know why. And for some reason, this was like one of my favorite shows at this age. It feels more like a Nickelodeon pilot than I feel like a Disney Channel pilot even.
Sis Boom Buzz! Sis Boom Buzz! Sis Boom Buzz!
Like Sweet Life of Zack and Cody didn't move into the hotel in the pilot. It was more about them using the hotel as a way to be popular in school. Hannah Montana is kind of the opposite of this, where this girl has a secret about being famous and just doesn't tell anybody. But it's more about the interpersonal relationships and how it changes her life to be famous around her friends and her father. And Wizards is, of course, more fantasy, where we don't get to see them become wizards, they just kind of are at the beginning of the show. Yeah, so Sonny's walking into this. It's the first Disney Channel pilot in a while to kind of put us at the same POV of the main character, where I feel like I'm learning about So Random too.
Then I guess, just like Putty, the sketch is no longer with us.
The sketches are really funny, and I love how it's weaved into the plot, the conflict between Tawny and Sonny, because it makes for a major blowout when they actually do the performance. And I'm excited because it sets the groundwork for this show being their entire lives. It stinks because I Forgot that Chad Dylan Cooper isn't until the next episode, making me feel like this pilot's slightly weaker than I thought. Like, imagine they never got to series. Like, I wish they had Chad Dylan Cooper in the first episode to kind of show how funny this world can really be. I'm not sure if that was like a choice by Disney, an executive, or what, to give him his own episode, but I definitely think it would have drew me into the show a lot more, as the show becomes like completely about Mackenzie Falls. So yeah, overall, Sonny With A Chance, very effective pilot. It's polished really well, but it's like only really surviving off of Demi's authenticity. The show itself is kind of like a tween 30 Rock with less funny jokes. And I'm betraying my younger self because this used to be my favorite show, but it's just not all it's cracked up to be. And I don't know if that's because of time or truth. But I don't know, what do you guys think of the Sonny With A Chance pilot? So the second episode is cleverly named West Coast Story, probably because Sonny Munroe is still getting comfortable with the West Coast culture. And it makes me think that a lot of these writers must have grown up on the East Coast or the Midwest, because the differences Sonny experiences in this show feel very accurate. This episode starts out with a sketch, kinda like the other episodes would, but this one's starring Grady. It's basically a bunch of people ordering at a Five Guys-esque place, and every time they get something, it gets thrown at them, which is kind of clever. I like it a little bit better than Dolphin Boy.
Hi, I was here 2 seconds ago. You pelted me with chicken bits.
Chicken bits! I really don't think these sketches have to do with the rest of the plot, though, because this episode is very special, and I'll tell you why in a second. Sonny is still having trouble fitting in with the core cast, not really knowing what her place is. You know, like Tawny's kind of the diva, Nico and Grady are the comic relief, and Zora is the more erratic one. I don't even know what to categorize Zora as. So Sonny is getting lunch in the studio food court. She runs into the infamous Chad Dylan Cooper from Mackenzie Falls, and I was surprised they didn't introduce this character in the pilot. That is not how I remember it. But you know what? I'm telling you, Mackenzie Falls is my favorite part of this entire show. Chad Dylan Cooper, Sterling Knight, is such a phenomenal actor, and I've never believed anybody in a role more than Chad Dylan Cooper. Sonny is immediately smitten, not in a romantic way, but like in a fan way.
You're Mackenzie on Mackenzie Falls.
And apparently you're Madge.
Yes. No. Madge is my waitress character, and all of this belongs to Madge too.
And finally, the perks of living in LA are starting to come to her. But it does interfere with her relationships with her friends, because the cast of So Random is famously their enemy. Kind of like the Krusty Krab and the Chum Bucket. It's comedy versus drama in this universe. And it's one of my favorite aspects of this show in general. I feel like here, when it's portrayed as high school, it's like the popular kids are Mackenzie Falls, and So Random is the nerd table. Chad's speech when he accepts this trophy is so ridiculous. Listen to this.
You know, a lot of people would say that it's so random that we won this award, but it's not so random. It's never so random, because Mackenzie Falls rules. Thank you, tweens.
Apparently the beef is that they keep getting an award that So Random will never get, probably because of that pretentiousness. So there's actually a reason for them to be a little frustrated. Sonny plays Peacemaker, and we really lean into her positive character. Like, she's so into getting everybody together that she actually invites both of them to a dinner. This idea goes horribly wrong pretty quickly. This peaceful dinner is messed up pretty quickly as they find out they're all glued to their seats. The whole peace dinner is to kind of give them their statue back, because I guess So Random stole it from them to kind of teach them a lesson, and Chad Dylan Cooper steals it back by gluing them to the seats. The cast of So Random is very fed up with Sonny because her positive attitude is getting them into more trouble. Sonny decides to play hardball when she sees that they actually made fun of her on the internet.
Okay, that's it. Now it's personal. I promise I'm going over to Mackenzie Falls and I'm not coming back. Yay! Without our parking space, our lunch table, and our dignity.
And even back then, I guess the internet had a big influence over people. This first interaction between Sonny and Chad is so interesting because he's clearly so manipulative but believes in everything he's doing. Sonny is open-minded and believes in everything she's doing. When she confronts him about these issues, she expects a productive, constructive conversation, but instead the background changes as Mackenzie Falls is being filmed, which is perfect because Chad Dylan Cooper is so much in his own world that everything he believes is almost a set. It's constructed, and it's all under his guise.
But the bad blood between our two shows has run too deep for too long to be healed by a bowl of egg salad, and even the best of intentions. Put your sweet little dreams of peace to bed.
What just happened? happened.
Sonny's embarrassed that she couldn't really get out of him what she needed to, so all of her castmates are fed up with her once again, and she's just trying to keep the peace here. She challenges them to a duel where they can take their parking spot back, which Mackenzie Falls overruled, and they'll give the trophy back. If they both bet something, the winner will get all of it.
We'll do it, okay? And when we win, you have to go on your show and say that Mackenzie Falls is better than So Random.
Fine. But when we win, you have to say something nice about So Random.
No. We're not doing that. You already told me your terms. You don't get to keep adding stuff. No, these are my terms. You don't get to use my terms. All right, fine, okay, deal. Musical chairs.
Fine. See you at noon.
Yes, you will.
It's musical chairs. I don't know why this has to be the challenge, but I like that there's a challenge nonetheless. It's very game show reality TV-esque, which fits the Hollywood vibe. And you could tell that these two casts do not get along, and I love it. Sonny has to end the episode doing something really deceptive to kind of make things even between her and Chad Dillon Cooper, who specifically took advantage of her in that moment.
You tricked me.
No, I was acting.
Having won this competition, the cast of So Random likes Sonny again, I guess, and the feud with Mackenzie Falls only begins in this episode, which is why I wish it happened in the pilot. They even get Chad Dillon Cooper to shout them out on Mackenzie Falls, which doesn't even make sense.
Time for talking's over. Because So Random's on. It's my favorite show.
As if this episode weren't enough, the next episode, season 1, episode 3, is called Sonny at the Falls. This one is unique because despite the fact that they just had this really gruesome fight between Demi and Chad Dillon Cooper, Sonny starts to see the positives of the Mackenzie Falls side. As So Random, they're kind of given the last bite of the pie for everything.
Porterhouse steak.
They get surf and turf and we get scarf and barf.
The fact that they're even competing with other networks makes me feel like it's not like SNL in the sense that like SNL isn't really worried about getting an award over a dramatic show, so the competition's less there. It's kind of like a cheating episode where Sonny and Chad keep getting closer and Chad starts to show her the perks of what it's like to be on an award-winning show. Chad Dillon Cooper really connects with Sonny when he brings in this like fantasy element, like picture this, or life is a set, and Sonny just falls for that. That's like something they have in common, despite him being out of reality.
Why don't you take a break from So Random? Come hang out at the Falls. Mackenzie Falls.
The more she hangs out with him, though, the more she has to hide it from So Random, and it becomes even more sketchy. No pun intended. The cast of So Random try to get the same perks that Mackenzie Falls does, but the lunch lady does not buy it. While Sonny is at the Falls, the cast of So Random catch her there. She is so embarrassed, like she was going behind their backs just to hang out with him. Obviously, they approach her about it, and she's pretty defensive, basically saying that they didn't treat her right, so she found a better cast.
You have seen the last of Sonny Munroe. I mean, other than, you know, the fact when we perform. Yeah. But other than that, you have seen the last of Sonny Munroe.
Ooh, I love this twist on such a generic plot. Like, it's so interesting to see characters have this kind of argument. We see how pretentious Mackenzie Falls is when they have a lobster dinner in the same lunchroom that So Random is eating pizza. And it's definitely like this in LA. There's the vibe of like, there's rich and poor and not a lot of middle class opportunities. And of course, Sonny wants to be on the better side. I mean, if it wasn't for the way So Random treats her, I'm sure she would still pursue comedy. But she gets more and more like Mackenzie Falls, so far as to be wearing the same costume. Zora tries to come in and save Sonny, which is really sweet of her. I feel like she, out of all the characters, care about Sonny the most and really see the best in her, which is sweet.
I need to speak to Sonny, and the big palooka here won't let me through.
There's also a moment where we find out that the cast of So Random does occasionally watch Mackenzie Falls, which is really funny. Earlier in the episode, when Sonny was feeling unappreciated with her cast, it was because she made a superhero sketch that nobody liked. So in order to make it up to her and convince her that Mackenzie Falls is not her home but So Random is, they dress up as the characters Sonny created. And there is no better way to try to apologize to a friend. They show up as superheroes to set, which is probably illegal because people are working. You know how much it costs to rent a studio? I don't either. But they come in, save the day, and bring Sonny back to their side.
You guys are making up?
Yes, we are.
But that ruins Chad's plan.
What plan?
I don't have a plan.
Sure you do. Keep you guys fighting with each other so Mackenzie Falls can stay #1.
Please. Don't talk without a script.
Finally doing the sketch Sonny envisioned, and it's a really sweet episode. I feel like this is where the show keeps going uphill for me. In the next episode, You've Got Fan Mail, Season 1, Episode 4, we have more internal troubles. So taking a break from Chad Dillon Cooper, it's more of a Sonny versus Tawny episode. Sonny's whole thing is that she's the only cast member that isn't getting fan mail, and it's almost kind of embarrassing. Tawny, of course, rubs it in, being like, nobody really likes you, and I don't know why she has to be a bully this time. Like, you just convinced her to come back to set, and now, in this episode, you're telling her she has no fans?
I'm not gonna let this bother me. I'm way too mature.
There's kind of a B-plot in this episode for the first time in the show. Grady and Nico find this mysterious box that belongs to Zora, and she's just like, stay out of my business, pretty much. And they're like, no, we're curious, what's in the box? Sonny is so desperate for admiration, which I would be too, because this is embarrassing, that she writes a letter as a fan to herself on the show. She puts on this whole performance, reads it in front of Marshall, and is like, wow, I get fan mail, see? But Marshall takes this and runs with it. He's like, let's invite them to the show and actually show them your first fan. She even has to run to the other side of the phone line to pretend to be this fan.
Is that a cow?
Yeah, and it's right behind you.
But wait, it doesn't stop there. Since they invited the fan on the show, Sonny has to dress up as him. And really, she just has like a blonde wig and a chin stash, or a chin beard, I don't know what they're called, and tries to prove to Marshall that she can't be there for the show. But then Tawny comes in and has to double down on the realisticness of this, because God forbid she finds out that Sonny is doing this.
Why do you like her?
Why don't you like her?
How do you know I don't like her?
Call it dude's intuition.
So Sonny has to keep up this facade so much longer, to a point where she even encounters Grady and Nico and has to explain it. She's just really good at playing a guy in this scenario. Throughout this episode, Sonny and Chad are kind of more buddy-buddy, not in the sense that they're friends, but they kind of give each other advice, which is really sweet, and not having Mackenzie Falls be the forefront of the episode makes it a little bit more interesting. Now here's where the twist comes in. Tawny hits on Sonny as this guy named Eric, and she's just wildly uncomfortable. When she catches her hiding Sonny's fan mail in the pillow, it's clear that Sonny was getting fan mail all along and Tawny was just hiding it.
You've been hiding my fan mail.
You're pretending to be your own fan?
You committed mail fraud.
Well, you committed fan fraud.
Fan fraud's not illegal.
Mail fraud's not embarrassing.
She refuses to admit that it could be possibly out of jealousy and just says it's to like keep her in her place or whatever. She teaches her a lesson by telling Marshall he should invite Eric to be on the show physically and meeting Sonny, just to get her in a worse situation than she already is. She agrees to it, not wanting to give up the facade quite yet, and the plot thickens. They try to call out Eric, but nobody comes. Just before Sonny's ready to admit that she made up the whole thing, Chad Dillon Cooper comes out in the fake costume. And I guess it ends with Sonny getting away with it. It's cool because they don't have a lot of conversations about what's going on, but when Sonny actually expresses that it's important to her to have a fan, Chad Dillon Cooper, he empathizes and we get to see a better side of him. Makes it a lot more complicated in a good way.
Why do you care?
I don't know, let's give it a shot.
I love characters that have that love-hate relationship because it always makes you want to see more about it. In the end, with the B-plot, Nico and Grady actually open the box and Zora is there with her head through the box. It was all just a prank to mess with them. I see how people think this could be parroting SNL, but I definitely get an All That vibe. You know, the Nickelodeon show, All That? It was also a sketch show. Maybe because it's a lot more family friendly and that's kind of what these teenagers are doing in this world, but it adds a little bit of context as to what I'm expecting more episodes to be like. The more Chad wants to be taken seriously as an actor, the funnier he is, as opposed to Sonny, who is seeking out to be a comedian. Like, she wants to be funny, but Chad wants to be serious, and it's so much more fun to watch somebody try to be serious and not achieve it than someone trying to be funny and not achieve it. You know what I mean? The moment where Tawny opens up to Sonny as this fake guy Eric is really telling of her character because she'd rather open up to this strange guy as opposed to Sonny.
It's just she's a lot better than I thought she was gonna be.
Really? I mean, really?
Yeah, but I'd never tell her that.
In a way, I feel like Tawny is London Tipton and Sonny is Maddie. That's what the show kind of feels like. Maybe I'm watching a lot of Sweet Life lately, but I'm definitely getting that dynamic of spoiled and rich and humble and caring. Although I feel like Maddie has a sense of entitlement and Sonny is just perky and optimistic. The next episode is season 1, episode 5, Cheetah Girls. It's kind of a play on the Cheetah Girls from Disney Channel. I used to love the Cheetah Girls, but we can't really get into that right now. So Sonny and Tawny do this sketch where they're basically two checkout girls, similar to Grady being the Five Guys worker in the sketch before, but this time it's them essentially judging people that come into the store, one by one.
Check out his vest.
His vest? Check out his boots.
His boots? Check out his hair.
Yeah, I'm right here. I want you to check out my items, all right?
Check out your items. Check out his attitude.
And this is the episode where we get a little insight into the classroom side of things. See, on sets, when you have actors that are under 18, they're required to have a certain amount of school hours to kind of keep them educated and make sure they don't miss out on a fulfilling life. And this is highlighted a lot in this episode. We see the teacher for the first time, and she'll make a lot of appearances as we go further.
We were just really excited about our sketch. I mean, I think I even saw you laughing.
That's impossible. I haven't laughed since I got out of the Navy.
Sonny gets a D on her math test and isn't too worried about it until her mother shows up to set. She demands a private meeting with her and Marshall and the teacher to say that if she doesn't get her grade up from a D, that she will be leaving so random. Whoo! The stakes are high this time. Marshall is hilarious in this scene though. I cannot get over it.
We had an agreement. Grades first, show second.
What do you say that we just, I don't know, switch it up this week? Show first, grade second, who's with me?
Scratching, not voting. Scratching.
And I noticed Sonny's mom is just like all the other moms on TV. There's only like two categories. There's like the sarcastic moms that like to be down to earth and like realistic about it, tend to be overbearing, and then the super laid back moms that don't care what their kids do and maybe a little delusional. I feel like Sonny's mom is a little bit of both in this scenario. That's where you could tell the difference between Disney and Teen Nick. I feel like Carrie Martin is also a little bit more dynamic than say Big Time Rush's mom on that show. So Tawny and Sonny are worried because they finally got the best sketch ever and it could land in like a movie, a spin-off show, you know, kind of like how SNL had successes. They're like on the verge of getting that with the characters they created. But if Sonny's off the show, she cannot play this character. And they're supposed to debut that night. Tawny insists that Sonny tries to cheat. And Sonny is obviously given a dilemma. If she doesn't cheat, she lets the whole cast down. If she does cheat, she lets herself down. Which is so hard for an optimistic person like this. Like she's given a really tough call. She tries to commit to studying instead with the help of Zora.
Ugh, focus! Sorry, just one more time and try and keep it simple.
This is a circle.
Zora's probably a genius. I don't know. She's a genius sometimes, but then other times she's an airhead that's kind of crazy. I feel like Zora is whatever the cast needs her to be, and not in a good way. I do like her when she's more on Sonny's side and a lot more a team player, but for the most part, she's kind of like a recurring joke of a character. As she's tutoring Sonny, Sonny is 100% like me in high school. She just daydreams all the time about her performance. Yeah, I used to write episodes and scripts when I was in math, and I had a D as well. Zora's frustrated because she cannot get her to focus. So Sonny decides to actually cheat. She writes on her arms and is super guilty about it to a point where when it's time to actually take the test, Sonny outs herself.
All right, class, you may now.
I'm a cheater!
Then there we go, back into Marshall's office, this time Sonny and Tawny. Marshall is super disappointed, which a responsible adult would be. I don't think he should be allowing any of this. He definitely shouldn't let them do this sketch if they're not gonna get good grades.
You for telling her to almost cheat.
No, I told her to cheat. She ruined it with the almost.
But they reassign the roles to Nico and Grady. So it's official, they're out of the sketch. So later Sonny and Tawny in the dressing room have given up hope. But Sonny realizes that she actually learned all the information she wrote on her hand and is ready to take the test and pass it. They just have to convince the teacher. And of course, this war veteran teacher that never smiles takes her time grading these tests. Sonny believes that if they could actually get the grade, they could probably get back back on So Random in time for the show tonight, which I don't know how they're gonna do that. You guys need to rehearse, you need to fix the scripts. I don't know why they think they could just go on stage and fix it. Whatever. When they get the go-ahead, Sonny and Tawny sneak into the So Random set, which is closed off. So they are really not gonna be in this sketch. In the B-plot, Nico and Grady basically get a snake, and the whole point of getting a snake is to impress a date, like make them think that they're really strong and can handle a snake, but they get too scared anyway, so it doesn't even matter. Well, this part actually involves the snake. When Sonny and Tawny try to sneak into the theater, the snake ends up crawling onto them, and they are freaking out.
Is it just me or is this rope really slimy?
Until they fall onto the stage and take on their respective roles, getting a great audience applause by the end. But if I were the audience, I'd be really annoyed. I'd be like, what the heck was that? Was that even a sketch? Whatever went on around it was probably so distracting. They couldn't have enjoyed that sketch. I wish this episode was more about them trying to get in the theater after they thought they couldn't. Maybe because the cheater type episode has happened so many times before. Like literally, I just did a Hannah Montana episode called Cheat It, where Jackson does the same exact thing. He writes on his arm the answers to a test and then later knows the answers and is able to complete the test with honesty. But I do like how the snake ends up being a B-plot, but then ends up being the thing that gets them to fall into their actual sketch. Like it means that that part wasn't for naught. The next episode definitely tugged at my heartstrings because it felt a lot more grounded than the ones before it. Like we see a lot about the world Sonny's about to be in, but now we get to see Sonny's world coming to So Random. In episode 6 of season 1, Three's Not Company, a parody of Three's Company, that old sitcom, they have a really funny sketch about nerds having a bully-proof backpack, and it ends up comically punching whoever tries to bully them.
Hey, loser, give me all your lunch.
I don't know how a backpack would detect something like that. So that's why this sketch is like really up there for me with one of the best. Sonny and Tawny get invited to Chad's upcoming birthday party by a cardboard cutout of his face. And it's so funny because his voice does not match when he says the names of the characters.
I'm here to invite
Sonny and Tawny
to my Chad-tastic birthday party.
But it's sweet that they were invited. I feel like the cast have less animosity the more they interact, especially Chad, Dylan, Cooper. They're not super concerned with this whole Mackenzie Falls versus So Random drama like they were a couple episodes. They're kind of lightening up about that. And the B-plot's really funny this time because there's a security guard that goes around the set, and Nico and Grady hate him. He's like just a jerky guy. He even eats their pizza that they got delivered.
He took a bite out of every slice.
You can't prove that, no one can.
You've got tomato sauce on your shirt.
Please, I've got tomato sauce on all my shirts.
And they try to get back at this guy by putting extremely hot sauce on the pizza, so next time they order it, he'll eat all of that. But let's put a pin in that for a second. This whole episode is about Sonny's best friend from home visiting, and her personality is contrasting with the LA vibes, kind of like Sonny did in the first episode. But she's come a long way. She's kind of learning the ropes and how not to get on people's nerves, how to keep the peace in a way that only Sonny knows how. And this girl is just so starstruck.
Your Majesty, it is my greatest pleasure to meet you. Now, Lucy, she's not actually a queen. I just said she acts like one. Okay.
And it's cool that Sonny kind of takes on a mentorship-like role and can kind of guide her through it, something that she never had when she joined. Tawny just kind of looks at her like a country bumpkin and talks to her like she's poor. I mean, Tawny has some nerve, I'll tell you that much. Not only is she like such the epitome of an LA diva, but she even insults everything about Sonny's upbringing. But she's surprised when Tawny actually is super nice to her best friend, something that she never got. And that kind of makes her jealous. Soon, Sonny feels left out, and Tawny and her best friend connect way more than they do. Chad Dylan Cooper comes to have a talk with Sonny about her whole situation, but keeps bulldozing over her to figure out if she's coming to his birthday party.
See, my best friend is in town, and
So, bring her to the party. You know, it just means 2 gifts.
And this, Sonny, is why I would never end up dating him. Like, he is kind of disrespectful to you the second he enters the room. He's more focused on himself than anybody is ever. The cultural differences are the most interesting part of this episode, especially when they go to Chad Dylan Cooper's party. Sonny wants to have a night in with her friend, but Tawny is the one who insists her friend come check out Chad's party. So here Sonny is trying to get a glimpse of home and remind herself of where she came from. But she's distracted by her best friend being so excited about where she's going and kind of trying to get her into the LA life. But she's been here, like she's struggling. She wants a break from it.
We're all going to Chad's Chadtastic birthday party.
oh, get out! Yeah, what she said.
So they go to Chad's party without her. Very disrespectful.
Come on, you two. I can't stand to see you fight. Let me sit.
And then when we get back to the Nico and Grady situation, the cop literally faints from extreme heat. They learn that they might have even killed him. The security cop definitely reminds me of the show 16. It's an animated show that was on Cartoon Network about these 16-year-olds that hung around the mall. There was a rent-a-cop that lived in the mall that kind of always kept an eye on the kids. He was more of an antagonist, and that's definitely what I see as this character. It also reminds me of Lubert from iCarly. You know, somebody that none of the kids like. When they get to Chad's party, Sonny's friend sticks out like a sore thumb. Like, she is not ready for an LA party. Like, they expect you to be chill and have all these extravagant things, but she's just pointing it out and super excited.
Oh, that dance? Don't do it here.
Okay, right.
Sonny makes a fool out of herself, and attention is taken away from Chad Dillon Cooper, even to a point where he falls into his own cake. And this is kind of where I feel bad for Chad, because he was just trying to have a birthday party, and Sonny brought all her drama into it. Although he is kind of a jerk, so it's really hard to empathize with him, especially in this episode when he doesn't seem to care about other people's issues at all. And Sonny and her friend finally get the chance to make up for everything that happened, finally admit they missed each other.
I just missed you so much, I wanted to have you all to myself.
This one was really fun because I love getting all the different perspectives of this show business, specifically Sonny's world. I never felt more immersed and connected to a character more than Sonny. Whether it's the distractions she kept seeing in her classroom, or trying to make two different groups of people get along, or even befriend this superstar drama actor. It feels like my problems are translated into the TV set life, and it makes me feel like I'm just like them, which actually feels very inclusive. I appreciate it, guys.
At the end of the day, he wasn't such a bad guy. Hello, ladies!
Season 1, Episode 7 is Pulled Apart. This episode is a lot more internet-based than we were used to at the time. This wasn't before iPhones or social media, but it was when we were peaking and starting to go on it a lot more often than watch TV. They do a great job translating this to a Sonny Munroe episode. It's another Sonny versus Tawny situation where there's this really obnoxious blogger named Sharona that everything she reports is like God. Like, she is essentially in charge of all pop culture.
Hey, look, there's a photo of me.
And we're wearing the same dress.
Who'd Sharona say wore it better?
It doesn't matter.
Sonny was shining, while Tawny was partly clunky with an 80% chance of shame? Oh. Interesting.
She destroys Tawny's confidence by complimenting Sonny instead of her. So this causes her to go crazy and shave her head. We learn that it's just a bald cap, but still, the threat's there. Sonny tries to talk to Sharona about her blog and why she should be nicer to Tawny, trying to empathize with her, being like, you know what it's like to have everybody look at you, like it's not a great feeling, like just be a person about this. Sonny's taking her Midwest ethics into the Hollywood studio. And of course, Sharona just laughs, but she never says she's gonna fix it.
You have really opened my eyes.
Wow. Well, then I'm glad I came down to see you.
Me too.
Sonny is convinced that she will listen to her, despite the fact she did not say that at all, and tells Tawny that everything's gonna be okay. But it's not. Turns out she took information that Sonny gave her about Tawny and tweeted out to everybody that Tawny is bald. Tawny is embarrassed, and I don't know why this is Sonny's problem, but she goes in the air vent where Zora usually is. And I love that Zora's in this air vent all the time. I don't know why, it's just such a funny character quirk.
Well, maybe you would feel differently if you were wearing your favorite discontinued lipstick, Coco Moco Coco.
Coco Moco Coco?
Sonny really doesn't have to be making Tawny feel better about all this, so it's really nice to see that she cares so much to try. She even comes up with the perfect plan to make a sketch parodying Sharona. If you guys live in Hollywood, that is definitely a power move. You don't just fight with words, you fight with art and content. Something that happens a lot more nowadays than it even did back then.
No, without my computer, I lose my power.
Sharona watches the sketch that's essentially mocking her, and she is angry. After the sketch, Sonny and Tawny get a note from her, and while they think it's gonna be good news, it turns out to be a threat through meat.
She wrote things on the meat.
Meat. Dead. You're
dead meat, she's threatening us.
While this payback doesn't work, they all show up to the No You Didn't famous person event just to show Sharona up. Kinda like to be like, yeah, you can't stop us. They all wear the same exact blazer and suit she does, and I guess that's the most embarrassing thing you could have happen.
Oh, how I loathe when people wear the same outfit.
perfect karma for them to give her. This episode's really interesting. The one thing that it touches on that I feel like most other shows don't is this adult versus kid, social media versus consumer energy, where Sonny is trying to be authentic, actually get something out of this woman, but she's an adult, she's a businesswoman, she knows that you can't be nice, so she kind of takes advantage of Sonny. I feel like most of these episodes are Sonny being taken advantage of because of her lack of knowledge of where they're kind of at.
If they can't take it and you can't text it, they shouldn't go outside.
Well, she's not going outside. Who? Tawny. Ha! Okay, yes, it's Tawny.
Watching this as an adult definitely makes me empathize with her a little bit more. It's one thing to just have an issue with somebody your own age, like Sonny and Tawny, but to actually bring up a problem to an adult and have them turn it back onto you, and not only not reward the communication skills, but punish it like Sharona did. It's just unfair, and it's not cool, and it's not how the world should be. The B-plot is really not interesting this time. It's all about trying to get Chad Dylan Cooper a present, and he is just so in his own world.
Thanks for the memories, your pals Nico and Grady. Do I know a Nico and Grady?
So season 1, episode 8 of Sonny With A Chance, we got Fast Friends, and the opening sketch is actually pretty creative. Two old women boxing, but instead of actually physically assaulting each other, they're using old lady stereotypes to compete.
Round 3, talking too loud at the movies.
He's the bad guy!
And it's pretty short, but it's definitely like one of the better sketches, I would say. This whole episode is about publicity. Tween Weekly, which is the pop culture TV show for tweens, is doing a short documentary on Sonny Munroe as the new kid in Hollywood. Her whole thing is she's trying to look good, but Tawny is essentially like, you have to watch out, because if you say something wrong, you can get really bad publicity. In the B-plot, Grady and Nico basically take all of Tawny's personal belongings and sell them. They use this really dramatic lighting in the prop house when Nico and Grady are talking about a video game console, and it's so crazy to think how outlandish this show can get.
I just want us to raise enough money to buy that new gaming system. The Y-Box 4000. 40 gigabit graphics. $1,200. That we don't have.
And yet everybody here is complaining about the Nintendo Switch 2 being $450. Chad Dylan Cooper is pretty much the antagonist of this episode. At first I didn't think it was going to be about him, but then it ended up being more about him and Sonny publicly fighting in front of the camera. And it's really funny because Chad actually does not act like himself every time a camera is rolling. And this actor is just so good at playing a conceited kid. Like, I do not believe this guy exists outside of this character. His whole thing apparently is that he publicly kicked a puppy, so there's a bad image of him on the internet. Every time they record Sonny and try to interview her, he kind of interrupts, bringing a puppy he apparently rented to show Sonny. And Sonny actually falls for it. She thinks he's being genuine for a moment, which I don't know how she believes that. Like, he clearly only does it when a camera is physically pointed at him. Okay, but then there's a plot twist. When Sonny finds out that Chad is being fake, she calls him out on it, and the guy at Tween Weekly records that instead.
You poser! You are the most shallow, self-absorbed, conceited jerk face that I've ever met. And you know what? This is my room, and this is my interview, and this is my foot, which is gonna kick you in the butt if you don't get out of here.
And it goes on the news, because back then, social media wasn't a big thing, so you actually looked on TV for any celebrity info, which is hard to imagine now, because it really doesn't matter now. There's so many famous people from all these YouTube channels and doing all this stuff that it's not like we only have a limited amount of stars anymore. I feel like every 10 people in this country are TikTok famous. So not only are Nico and Grady stealing, but they are doing it in style. They literally dress in all black, hide in the prop closet, probably another crime, and are not afraid to cover their tracks when they take all of Tawny's stuff. I mean, at this point, they're asking for it.
Fire up the computer. The dumpster was filled with all this great Tawny trash.
Nico, I have no idea what you are talking about.
Oh, I also have no idea what I'm talking about.
Chad and Sonny talk to this girl that seems like a background extra, and they keep talking over her, not allowing her to have a single line, which means it's confirmed that she is a background extra. This poor girl thought she was gonna get so much screen time, but it's all about the other characters shutting her up. In one final publicity stunt to win back her reputation, Demi pretends to be building dog houses just like Chad Dylan Cooper and tries to look like a better person. Off camera, he basically warns her that he's never gonna look bad, and then she is able to record it on her hat cam.
And you tried to make me look bad, and you just couldn't. You're just too nice. And I'm too good at pretending to be nice.
Smile into my hat.
But also, I feel like recording people without their consent is definitely a crime, too.
Well played, Monroe.
Props accepted.
We should hang out sometime.
Camera's off, Chad.
I know.
That's kind of where the episode ends. So the next episode we have is Sonny with a Chance of Dating. And this is infamously the episode that started the Sonny and Chad relationship. We start with Sonny at the commissary getting food and runs into a handsome guy, Aaron Stone. If you guys see Disney XD shows, he's the lead of that. Sonny's attracted to him, but finds out pretty quickly that he's guest starring on Mackenzie Falls. Oh geez. Chad and her kind of get in a little fight and he notices the chemistry and is like, what's going on?
Wow. What's going on here?
Nothing.
It's beyond nothing.
It's certainly nothing to be late over. Our scene's up first after lunch. Sonny?
Chad.
But it's kind of like the first hint at something. He asks Sonny out, and what can you say? In the B-plot, Nico and Grady are obsessed with getting frozen yogurt from the machine, but like literally putting their head under the nozzle and having it that way. The security is not having it. The two get in big trouble. So Sonny's excited to go out on a date with this guy, and Tawny kind of warns her that he's not a great guy.
I'm not gonna brag, but James Conroy! James Conroy? Yes. No! No! No!
When Sonny doesn't really react to it and still wants to go on the date, Tawny approaches Chad about it. Tawny tells Chad that she wants James to back off Sonny. Chad is a little defensive, and it's clear that he's bothered that she's gonna go on a date with this guest star.
The one who's going out with Sonny tonight.
Sorry, what?
James, Sonny, date tonight.
Date Sonny tonight. James?
So where is he?
And the two kind of corner each other and are like, why are you jealous? Why are you jealous? And it's super defensive. It's interesting seeing how like they're both protective of Sonny. So when Nico Grady can't get out of this punishment thing, Zora enters saying that she wants to be their lawyer. And this is where it gets kind of funny. She approaches the cop as the lawyer from her sketch, insistent that she can be a lawyer. She tries to negotiate their punishment, but ends up making sure that they have community service to pay back.
Community service? What a great idea. 3 hours?
3 or 6.
Stop doing that!
And the dry comedy is really good in this episode. I feel like the actors are really good at being grounded for what the show is. So when Sonny and this guy are on a date, everything's going well until Tawny shows up, third wheel material. And it's so sweet to see that she's actually trying to protect her. And then when Chad Dillon Cooper also comes in, we're just surprised. These are both characters with experience of having bad intentions around Sonny, and suddenly they're the only ones trying to stick up for her.
How about you and I partake in a friendly game of air hockey?
It's not really my. Ow!
It's kind of meddling for your friends to be like, I do not want you to date that person. I'm gonna get in the way of it. That's almost like really toxic. Sonny gets flowers, supposedly from that guy, but then they turn out to be addressed to Tawny. Oh my gosh. So he really is a jerk. He just got over Sonny after one date and asked her best friend out.
Are you trying to comfort me?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Can I be done now?
Yes.
Sonny kind of has an idea to get back at him. So Tawny goes on the date with this guy, and it turns out he's just this guy that just wants what he can't have and is uninterested after one date with a girl. It's so annoying. So Sonny and Chad pretend to be on a date, and there's definitely chemistry here. Like, you could see Chad wants to be closer to her, and she feels a little too comfortable with him. Oh my god, but things take a turn for the worst when Nico and Grady come in and feel betrayed because they didn't know they were dating. And Sonny can't really explain that they're doing something, putting on a performance, because obviously the guy's gonna pick that out. And he does, he comes over pretty quickly. But to prove that it's a real date, Sonny makes out with Chad in front of him.
You're lying to us?
No.
Wait, so you're lying to me?
No. Look, would I do this if I were on a fake date?
Whoa. It's clear that the whole thing's a setup and he's embarrassed and somersaults out in the same kind of somersault he was doing in the Mackenzie Falls episode. Chad also ends up ditching to avoid his vulnerability, and the episode just ends with Nico and Grady getting ice cream from the nozzle one last time, which it's nice to have a happy ending. Oh wait, the cop arrests them. Never mind, it's not happy. I'm so excited to see where Sonny With A Chance goes from here. Like, in the rewatch perspective, I used to love this show, mainly because Chad Dillon Cooper is so funny. Like, I could probably watch this entire show just for him. But hey, I don't have to, so let's keep going. Okay, so we're on the 9th episode of Sonny With A Chance Season 1. I'm gonna give us one more episode before I talk about a lot more important things to discuss about Sonny With A Chance. Like, in what world would Demi Lovato have been able to continue the show? And where does it go in the second half?
We'll go to episode 10, I'm gonna see the reception of the video, and then we'll decide if we should proceed with another video. So this episode is called Sonny with the Studio Brat. It's about Sonny getting paired up with this Make-A-Wish child to be on the set of So Random for a whole day. It's apparently this girl's dream.
Hey, that's just Zora.
It's okay. When every day's a struggle, names don't bother you.
Something that's important to note is that they work at the studio lot of Condor Studios. It's the name of the big executive in charge of the studios, and that's where they film So Random, okay? Remember that.
Mr. Condor. Hey, big boss man, how's it going?
So this girl basically isn't super excited to see So Random. She more so wants to see Mackenzie Falls and kind of bugs Sonny to talk to Chad into meeting her.
We should hang out.
Chad, I can see you.
All right, so you can see that I'm very busy.
And she's like obsessed with it, and the way she pities herself, the self-deprecation is actually really funny.
He's, very busy.
Of course he is. Story of my life.
It's like exactly the opposite of Sonny Munroe's character, who is all optimistic, and this girl is absolutely negative. Then the whole B-plot is kind of about Hollywood culture again, more so Tawny trying to fit into it because she wasn't invited to this top secret exclusive party that apparently Chad Dillon Cooper was invited to.
Oh, hey, look at that. It's me and my cast at every hot club in Hollywood. Oh, and you in a dumb hat.
So she has to kind of create a facade of a party that he can't be invited to, so it seems more exclusive. This is all to kind of fight the expectation everybody has on the comedians to not be real, not be serious, or fit into their social circle.
That's why we're going to a place so cool, so exclusive, so underground, it doesn't even exist.
We're going to Narnia?
So it's kind of deeper than what it sounds. Anyway, they use one of the sets of their sketches to make it look like an exclusive club, take pictures outside, and it's kind of like Instagram, you know, it makes you believe it.
Now, act like you don't know your picture's being taken. Yeah, that's great. Now give me obsequious. That's it. I just wanted a shot of you looking confused.
So Sonny starts to expect something's up when this girl just wants to see Chad Dillon Cooper and is just begging her the whole time.
I'm disappointed that none of you are Chad Dillon Cooper.
Well, according to the World Wide Web, we are much cooler than Chad Dillon Cooper.
This isn't about cool. This is about hot.
She still believes she's a good girl, but she keeps pushing her limit, even egging on the other cast of So Random, like Zora, which in her defense, Zora did call her evil first, and even goes so far as to tie up Sonny, and Tawny doesn't even notice she's tied up.
I know they're out, but if anybody can bring them back, it's me. Hey, what time is rehearsal?
And this is where the twist comes in. Sonny realizes that this is actually Mr. Condor's daughter and not a Make-A-Wish kid.
Oh, he brought his puppy to work. Fire him. But keep his puppy.
What? So she definitely ends up blackmailing the entire cast by making it seem like she can get them in trouble with Mr. Condor literally at any point, and convinces Sonny to ask him to get her to go to the dance with him. So weird. It's like this kid trying to meet his biggest fan. I don't know why Mr. Condor doesn't go through himself. Like, she could just talk to him. And it's really funny because when they actually have their date, Sonny has to be there the whole time. And they bring them to the basement, this top secret club that Chad Dillon Cooper is jealous that the So Random cast now got into. Such a play of power, like now that they're invited somewhere else, like he wants to be the one to have it. Very alpha energy. But I like how the two stories come together at the actual dance when Mr. Condor and Chad believe that this is an actual club. But when they do think it's an actual club, Mr. Condor's like, this is illegal.
You brought my precious angel to a Hollywood club?
Oh, sounds like he's mad at you.
Oh, no. He's mad at you, too.
Actually, Mr. Condor, it's a really funny story.
Trust me, it's really not that funny.
And they just tell everybody that it happens to be a set, which, lucky for them, I don't know how you got out of such a dangerous stunt you pulled just for, like, brief fame. But I guess they're teenagers. It makes sense that it's a little messed up sometimes.
This club is fake.
Of course it is. You don't think
I'd bring your daughter to a real Hollywood club, do you?
One of the things that kind of pops into my mind in this moment is Drew Barrymore. I'm not sure if you know her from the Drew Barrymore show or just some famous movie she's in, but she was one of those Hollywood stars that went to the clubs as a kid. Like, there's a lot of information about it on the internet. Look it up. It's just kind of like a dark tie-in to put in a sitcom setting. I like how mature the story is. It's very disheartening that this actually happened, but it's crazy to think that they even portrayed it back then. And I'd be lying if I said this episode didn't have killer jokes, like where they're bringing Chad Dillon Cooper to the club but have to have him wear a blindfold so he doesn't know the club is actually within the studio.
The club is so exclusive, nobody can know where it is.
Why don't you have to wear a blindfold?
Well, how do you know I'm not?
Like, 1, how did you get there? 2, Tawny's able to fake a security guard and take his money.
$20. Thanks.
Chad, I forgot my wallet.
Yeah, enjoy the club. And, might I say, Tawny, you look particularly stunning this evening.
Why, thank you. Chad, tip the nice man.
Oh, right. There you go. Thanks, man.
Genius. Now that we've covered 10 out of 20 episodes of Sonny With A Chance Season 1, let's jump into some things I realized about this show.
The very first episode drew in 4.1 million, and the second episode about 4 million, putting the show among the top cable programs for that entire week. It was a really strong beginning, on par with the other Disney launches, and it actually outperformed Disney's debut of Jonas, which happened a few months later, which means Lovato's star power was almost more popular than the Jonas Brothers.
She's a singer, she is an actor, she is a fashion icon.
In June 2009, Disney renewed Sonny With A Chance for a second season, just before it even finished its first. And then the LA Times kinda noted that the shows were pitched like a high school play. Around this time, she also released her own debut album, Don't Forget, and that was with Disney's label, right when she was about to do Princess Protection Program with Selena Gomez. This was like all cross-promotion for the channel. She even sang the Sonny With A Chance theme song. So how do we know for sure if Sonny With A Chance was a genuine success or just an incredible hype up and letdown? And I know it's early to talk about this, but it's a part of the show's history now. Demi was juggling sold-out concerts and recording albums with Camp Rock's success while carrying this whole TV show. In early 2010, Sonny With A Chance began its second season. The show's originally run ultimately spanned from February 2009 to January 2011. And Demi was fighting some really private battles, even as Sonny Munroe kept us laughing. During the 2010 tour with the Jonas Brothers, part of the Camp Rock-fueled music career, Demi hit a breaking point. She entered treatment for physical and emotional issues. In October of that year, you could learn a lot more about her backstory and what she went through at that time through her own documentaries. If you type in Demi Lovato on YouTube, I'm sure they're gonna come up. The show was renewed for a third season, even though still in limbo. In November 2010, fans were shocked to find out that not only was Sonny With A Chance coming back for a third season, but they're not gonna have Demi in it anymore. Oh my god, I remember hearing that news. I loved Sonny With A Chance at that age. I spent all my time watching this show over and over again because I just wanted to be a comedian. And here, Demi's suffering because of it. Because of me. And I'm sorry, Demi. Production on new episodes was retooled and then began in early 2011. Then she personally announced she wouldn't return to Sonny With A Chance, choosing to leave the show to focus on her music and well-being. And she said there just couldn't be a better time for her to move on. She admitted that returning to the sitcom wouldn't really be healthy for her. And even though that hurts me, I'm gonna have to let her do what she needs to do. It was so sad that they had this final episode of Sonny With A Chance airing in January 2011, day of the new year, and that was the last Sonny we were getting.
Good. Good. Fine.
Fine.
Disney tried to give us a consolation prize by putting up So Random, which essentially was the third season of Sonny With A Chance, but it just got fixed. But, like, it was not the same. Without Demi's warmth and comedic spark, it felt like a hollow, trying to be funny, canceled after one season TV show. So yeah, that's just kind of how it all ended. I want to imagine, like, what if Demi never started in Camp Rock? What if Sonny With A Chance was her whole thing, and she took that part without taking Camp Rock? Do you think it would have grown in popularity, maybe even quality, if it kept going? I want to believe that the answer is yes. What if she didn't burn herself out early on? What if some of these Disney executives actually paid attention to her and was like, no, we actually have to give her 4 hours to herself every day? Where's the manager that's going to remind her to meditate or take care of herself or journal? No, this was a all too real tale of Hollywood in the 2010s. Maybe she wouldn't have even had to film Camp Rock 2. She could have been an actress first, but she took on a music career, and that came a lot more naturally to her than going back to Sonny With A Chance. She was too nervous to get in front of the camera again. But singing was something she always loved, and as a Leo, I get it. But I wanted to see storylines about Chad Dylan Cooper. I wanted to see more power trips done by the characters.
Sonny?
Chad?
The chemistry between the cast was getting better in real life, and I can only imagine it would have improved over time there too. Like maybe even learn a little bit more about Wisconsin, like how Hannah Montana ended up being. I wonder what would happen if Disney took this from seasons 3 and 4, like Wizards of Waverly Place, or how they expanded, how the other shows expanded over time. What if it didn't have to rebrand to So Random? For me, I felt like the end of the show was going in a weird direction, like it lost its integrity, and I can't help but feel like if Demi was in a safe and caring environment, that it wouldn't have to be that way, that she would not be juggling a movie and season 2 at the same time, that she would fully live out her actress career, take a break, and then go into doing music, but instead, she was dealt a really bad card. And Sonny With A Chance is a reflection of that. But you know what? Everything has its place in history, and I can't help but respect it for what it all was. Who knows, maybe I wouldn't even like it if it were that way. All I know is there's something special about this show, and even though it doesn't mean a lot to a lot of other people, it definitely means the world to me. So just a few fun facts that you might find really interesting, especially if you're a numbers nerd like me, who cares about air dates and production codes. But Sonny With A Chance was interesting. 1, it was the first Disney Channel HD sitcom. Like Hannah Montana, Wizards, they all started out in this 4x3 box. Like if you watch it on Disney Plus, there'll be like little bars on the side in the episodes. Those meant they were filmed for a smaller screen. So Sonny With A Chance is one of the first shows on Disney to not have that black bar. So season 1 production ran from September 2008 to January 2009. It's about like 4 months of filming. All season 1 episodes were taped before an actual live studio audience on stage 11 in NBC Studios in Burbank. Meanwhile, I was just entering 6th grade. For season 2, they actually moved to Hollywood Center Studios. The live audience aspect contributed to the show's sitcom energy, and notably, the episode West Coast Story was the first filmed with a live audience. So that second episode. Several episodes were shot out of order, like West Coast Story was actually the first produced episode, which explains why Chad's introduction feels so immediate in episode 2. And then Sonny in the Middle, which is episode 19, actually released really early on DVD in August 2009. And it premiered in November, 3 months later. Demi Lovato even noted that her character's look, like the hairstyle, skin tone, fluctuates in the early episodes because season 1, The Heartbreak Kids, was filmed way earlier, and she looks noticeably different compared to the first 2 episodes. But I haven't noticed this, have you guys? I guess now that you say it, you could tell the shift. Season 1 was a rating success, and the mid-season episode Pranked drew 5.2 million views on its premiere, which was the highest of the whole season. So for Sketchy Beginnings, this is the first and only appearance of Pootie Tawny's beloved cat, Pootie, in the episode.
Dewey Putty Two Shoes.
Putty two shoes?
Despite Marshall promising to buy her a new one. And it's never mentioned again after the premiere. The So Random cast references a former member, Mandy, who left just before Sonny arrived in the pilot. Eagle-eyed fans will notice that the So Random promo poster shown in the prop house already excludes Mandy, suggesting an unseen episode or plot where maybe she departed. But I'm not sure how seriously they took it. It's weird that Chad isn't here in this episode, right? I think it's weird. You'll notice that Sonny mentions she got her sense of humor from her dad in this episode.
I can see where Sonny gets a sense of humor.
Actually, I get it from my dad. She's not kidding.
But we never really hear about him ever again. There is a real-life photo in Tawny's dartboard. The headshot of Sonny that Tawny vandalizes
Need another girl. I'm the funny girl and the pretty one.
is actually the one of Demi Lovato's 2008 Camp Rock promo headshots. Oh my gosh. So, Sonny looks noticeably different in the cold open scene, like darker brown hair, slightly different styling compared to the rest of the episode, since the intro scene in Wisconsin was filmed months earlier for the pilot. Demi's appearance changed by the time the actual show was shot. It's a small visual cue, but it's really interesting to connect its pilot filming to what ended up being the final product. Oh, the second episode, West Coast Story, is a cheeky nod to that old musical West Side Story. And it's funny because, you know, So Random and Mackenzie Falls has that feud. Okay, so I'm actually realizing this after doing the review on the episode, but Chad's whole Zac Efron vendetta, it is continued throughout the whole series.
Why is Zac Efron up there?
Because it's my wall, and I like saying I banned Zac Efron. There will come a day when Zac Efron comes knocking on that door and he's like, hey, can I come in? I'll be like, oh no, you're banned.
Now be a gracious loser and shake Mr. Efron's hand.
And it's kind of funny how specific the hate is. Did you know, like, during the episode Sonny at the Falls, Disney released actual Mackenzie Falls minisodes online, including a faux Mac Falls season finale on the bonus DVD?
This is your night. If it was my night, Chloe would be here. If it was my night, none of those people would be. If it was my night, I wouldn't keep feeling like it's just not my night. It's just not my night!
I didn't realize the episode 4, You've Got Mail, was a spoof of that old rom-com You've Got Mail from 1998. It's also a reference to the AOL email alert. I don't know if the 2000 kids remember You've Got Mail. You've got mail. Oof, and the episode Cheater Girls? That is one of only 3 episodes in season 1 where Chad Dylan Cooper doesn't appear at all. I never realized that at all. Oh, and I'm sad to learn that Sonny's friend Lucy, the one that visited from Wisconsin, never actually visits again or makes another appearance in the show, which kind of makes the lore feel weird. In Sonny in the Studio Brat, the girl dancing with Nico is Dallas Lovato, Demi Lovato's older sister in real life. Isn't that crazy? It's a really quick cameo, so you'll probably miss it, but fun Easter egg for fans who like Demi. So I've been talking a lot about how Sonny With A Chance could be mistaken for a parody of SNL. Which brings me to the sitcom based on a show about SNL, 30 Rock. Both Sonny With A Chance and 30 Rock center on the chaotic behind-the-scenes world of a sketch comedy show, but they both target different audiences and tones. Disney Channel's Sonny With A Chance from 2009 to 2011 was explicitly influenced by 30 Rock's premise. It's like 30 Rock for kids. Fans of the show have echoed this sentiment, and note that Sonny felt like a 30 Rock style workplace comedy tailored for tweens. Despite the shared DNA, the two series diverge greatly in their episode structures, character dynamics, and satirical bite. The comparison offers insight onto how each story handled its recurring themes, ensemble cast interactions, and media industry satire, something they both did really well. So episodes of Sonny With A Chance typically revolve around the day-to-day hijinks of producing a teen sketch show so random. often focusing on Sonny's efforts to fit in and succeed in show business. A major recurring theme in this is the so random versus the teen drama Mackenzie Falls. A lot of the plot points involve the two shows going against each other or something prank related. For example, like when they're both nominated for the Tween Choice Awards.
At Mackenzie Falls. In your face, Mackenzie Falls! Yeah! Oh yeah! In your face, we won! And you thought we'd lose, but guess what? We won! What I meant to say was thank you.
The rivalry produces stories about one-upping another person or rigging or sabotaging people, and shows that Sonny's super optimistic as she's trying to get everybody to get along. There's also her budding romance with Chad Dillon Cooper, which introduces typical teen show themes of jealousy, misunderstanding, and then in Sonny With A Chance of Dating, Chad becomes jealous when Sonny goes on a date with another boy, showing that he has feelings. Whew, but we're not there yet. Many of the episodes balance Sonny's personal life, like friendships, crushes, and Midwestern family visits. Overall, Sonny's plots are self-contained, and the conflict usually is resolved neatly by the episode's end, often with the slapstick gag or a heartwarming note, like the Disney formula of fast-paced stories with positive finishes. 30 Rock's episodes, by contrast, delve into a more complex and funny storyline centered around running a live show. The show's humor is often meta and industry savvy.
What a rush! You are horrible.
With Liz Lemon dealing with her outrageous crises and dealing with the star's antics, all while listening to the corporate interests of the company. It's about network television politics and Liz's struggle to have it all in work and life. Many plots are jam-packed with the pop culture parodies and long-running inside jokes. Like when they did a Survivor type episode or a reality TV show episode like Queen of Jordan. And they also like to weave in B and C subplots like a Disney show would. I feel like the themes are celebrity ego, network absurdities, and personal issues. The Sonny cast is a tight-knit group of young comedians, each fitting a broad comedic archetype benefiting the Disney sitcom. Like Sonny is the optimistic newcomer, Tawny is the glamorous diva.
I never know how I feel unless I'm looking at myself. Apparently, I feel terrible. And pretty.
Who initially resents Sonny for stealing her spotlight as a blonde Queen Bee type character, and Tawny is portrayed as a vain and conniving person, but she softens into a loyal friend over time. Their dynamic evolves from rivalry to sisterly-like friendship, offering the show both conflict and a positive female friendship. Sterling Knight, Sonny equivalent prima donna star, and on The Rival Show, he's depicted as this egotistical teen idol.
All hail Mackenzie Falls. To me, Chad Dillon Cooper.
Chad and Sonny's love-hate chemistry drives a lot of the series' later tension, like their banter and eventual romance is kind of the highlight of the show. Then of course they round out the cast with some funny ensemble members, like Nico and Grady, who just seem like they're just there to be there. And Zora being this really confusing hybrid of an elf and a genius. I never know how to categorize Zora.
Another case won by Sally Jensen, kid lawyer. I fight for you!
Unlike many Disney sitcoms, this is kinda like a workplace comedy. And they're both about creative collaboration, show business, and then they get to do meta humor on both shows. By the end of the show, it kinda ends up being more of an ensemble-like show, kinda like 30 Rock inevitably always has been. But despite its success in the tween crowd, Sonny With A Chance left some room for improvement. And looking at 30 Rock, I think we could tell a little bit more of what could have been. One clear difference is the complexity and sharpness of the humor. Like 30 Rock quietly evolved into a complex, hilariously layered, sharp as tacks comedy. known for its like witty dialogue, running gags, satirical bite, and Sonny often relied on broader gags and more straightforward plots, one that would be done in Disney Channel. Mainly focusing on physical comedy, like pies and faces, or costumes, simplified conflicts, or underestimating the audience's ability to appreciate more nuanced humor. 30 Rock demonstrates that even in a show about a show, one can weave in clever meta humor and funny jokes without losing the audience. Sonny might have benefited from occasionally pushing its comedic boundaries to a show kind of like Teen Nick would do, like a Drake and Josh joke, or a Zoe 101 joke. Maybe even more inside jokes about just being a part of Disney Channel would have made it a lot more authentic. One critic noted that Sonny's jokes tended to privilege sights over words. Another lesson is maintaining the consistent tone across demographics. Like 30 Rock was really good at being absurd, heartfelt, and sincere all at the same time, with zany humor and actually peppered into real emotional connections. Sonny With A Chance rarely strayed from its peppy, Disney-approved tone, heartfelt moments like Sonny and Tawny finally bonding as friends, but Disney avoided deeper and more bittersweet beats that could have added depth to kind of make it more of a fun experience. Sonny could have learned from 30 Rock in balancing its jokes and its emotional tone, like fame going to Sonny's head or the pressures of having to be a role model, and actually like made a moral out of it, but it seems like it's trying to be both. Like a little bit more character development, show real consequences to Chad's ego or Tawny's insecurity behind a one-episode lesson. Like, we could have made Sonny With A Chance more engaging or rewarding to its teen audience. In terms of storytelling, 30 Rock also kind of excelled at the long-term payoff, recurring jokes and the evolving relationships, but Sonny was more episodic and often would reset the progress by next week. The show's sudden end after 2 seasons meant that some storylines, like Chad and Sonny's romance, were left unresolved, and even before that the series wasn't building toward a larger narrative anyway. Learning from 30 Rock, Sonny With A Chance could have planted more running subplots, or like callbacks to earlier episodes, to create like its own lore or continuity. Fans of Sonny craved this, and you can tell because people still like this show years after. Sure, it's not the best Disney show. Sure, it's not in the top 10 Disney shows. Sure, it's not in the top 30 Disney shows. But Sonny With A Chance is good. Perhaps the one biggest lesson I would say is over-sanitizing the jokes. Like, the reason people watch Teen Nick shows a little bit more than Disney Channel shows is because it has that sense of edge, that sense of real-world experiences. It's not speaking to me when I was a 16-year-old. I outgrew it. But let's switch the shift a little bit. I want to talk about what it did better for the youth audience, because 30 Rock was for everybody, but this was for the tweens. So what did the tweens think? Sonny had its roots in the youth-focused format, because it was a part of the Disney ethos, which set it apart from a lot of 30 Rock's more cynical style. First, Sonny With A Chance provided a wholesome entry point for the showbiz satire for kids. It was less intense, there was less real-world consequences being displayed on a kid's show. There's just stuff you can't even comprehend as a younger kid watching this. Like, we just wanted to see something that actually we could relate to. And this was like the first time we saw a comedy about making a TV show. It was kind of a novel idea back then, and Sonny With A Chance packaged its bright sets and goofy skits to keep its fun. And the show's sketches are a key differentiator. Like, unlike 30 Rock, which rarely shows the sketches, Sonny actually shows us all of them, and they're always so relevant to a kid's issues, although younger than the audience insists. And Sonny was just overall more optimistic and positive, which can be seen as a strength. The Disney Channel environment isn't necessarily a bad thing. We don't have to see the dark parts of the world, we don't have to get really in-depth with our character relationships. We're just here to have fun, and then kind of make something else next week. I feel like Demi Lovato's confidence and leadership make her a really worthwhile role model for young viewers. That's what Common Sense Media said. So there were some people that were really acknowledging its relevance.